Hi, my name's Meria Rosenberg, and today I'm going to read from my middle grade novel, Indiana Bamboo. I'd like to thank the Norwalk Public Library for all of the events they've done this month for Indie Authors Week. Ding dang! Someday someone's going to smash that doorbell, I thought as I raced to the door. Happy birthday, Indy! Time out, stop the presses. Before I tell you what happened on Sunday, I have to tell you what happened on Thursday. And before I tell you what happened on Thursday, I should properly introduce myself. My name is Indiana Bamboo. The true story of how I got my name is that once upon a time, my New York City born and bred parents hopped in their car for a little Sunday afternoon drive across the George Washington Bridge. They started talking and talking and talking. They are real good talkers. Well, 15 hours later, when they finally reached an awkward silence in their conversation, they hopped out of the car to get something to eat. Except they'd forgotten they weren't in New York City anymore. They were in River Creek, Indiana, surrounded by acres and acres of 8-foot-high August cornstalks blowing in the wind, and they were mesmerized by the sight of it. Right then and there, they decided that girl or boy, they'd name me Indiana, which is just fine with me, because knowing my parents, it could have been a whole lot worse. They could have named me Cornstalk. I live in a not quite tumbling down mansion that rumor has it used to be part of the Underground Railroad that my parents rented that very day here in River Creek. I don't have any brothers or sisters. I do have 4 cats, 2 turtles, a hermit crab, my brand new guinea pig Porky Jr., lots of ladybugs when I can find them, a former boyfriend named Bartholomew Jackson Alexander McGill, and my cousin Boris, who has flaming red hair, lots of freckles like me, and got grounded last week for stealing 3 packs of gummy worms from the candy store. But Boris is a whole other story. This story begins last Thursday, which happens to have been 3 days before my 11th birthday and the day before the night that Paradise Pets was robbed. Last Thursday afternoon, Jamie and I were tooling around on our bikes, me on my good old Red Ranger and Jamie on her new 16-speed Black Bomber. We'd cruised halfway around town, which at River Creek takes all of 4 minutes and 23 seconds, to get chocolate chip cookies for me and a giant sugar cookie with rainbow sprinkles for Jamie. But I was getting antsy for my daily visit to Paradise Pets. I'd been there every day since 2 weeks ago Tuesday, when the sweetest cockapoo puppy was delivered. The cowbell clanged a sour note as we wobbled the wooden door open and walked in. "Hey dudes, what's happening?" Hendrix squawked his trademark greeting, flapping his red, blue, and yellow wings for good measure. Hendrix is a huge, ancient scarlet macaw who is totally psychic. He's lived at Paradise Pets for 40 years at least, ever since the owner before Mr. Humperdinck, found him parked outside his door one morning with a note taped to his cage that read, "Dudes and dudettes, please take care of me. My owner had to split. P.S. My friends call me Hendrix." Jamie patted Hendrix's bright red head while I squeezed through the pet beds piled in the aisles in every size, from hamster to Great Dane, to find Mr. Humperdinck. He was feeding the guppies in the back of the store near Maurice Sebert, Lily, and Esmeralda. "Maurice," I smiled and waved. He smiled and waved right back. Then he twirled his purple cape over his arm and tugged his left ear like he always does when he's hungry. Maurice is a brown bear. He's my other best friend besides Jamie. Whenever Jamie hollers, "Indiana Bamboo, you have about as much sense as a coconut," and stomps home in consternation, I zip over to Paradise Pets for a cup of lemongrass tea with Maurice. He has to take his tea in his cage. I have to take mine, sitting cross-legged with my bony knees just behind the yellow line Mr. Humperdinck painted on the floor to keep us kids from getting too close to him. I usually do most of the talking, and Maurice never gets mad, not ever. Esmeralda is a 2-toothed cougar. Lily is one mangy-looking lion whose fur was dyed a mysterious shade of puke mustard yellow before she got here, but you should have seen them when they first arrived. They were just 3 scrawny, scraggly sacks of bones. Maurice has grown downright chubby thanks to Mr. Humperdinck's TLC, and more than a few gallons of blueberry peppermint crunch ice cream from Stefano's ice cream parlor. I should be happy, but my heart's all tangled up in knots because I know that means he'll be leaving soon. I waved again to Maurice and blasted my voice over the bubbling fish tanks. "Mr. Humperdinck!" Shoulders slumped, Mr. Humperdinck shuffled toward me. What's all the racket? May I please hold Princess Penelope? Princess Penelope was lying on her back, pumping her pudgy black and white legs in the air, just like the ladies in the Golden Oldies exercise class at Joyland's Bakery, Exercise Emporium, and Special Occasion Beauty Salon when they do the bicycle with their pudgy legs in the air. Hendrik zoomed over in a flurry of red, blue, and yellow. Hold the puppy! Hold the puppy! He squawked, prying open the latch with his bill and toes. No opening the crates, Mr. Humperdinck grumbled, wagging his finger at Hendrik's. Then he trudged over to Princess Penelope's cage and plunked the wriggling puppy into my arms. Indiana, you're going to be one sad girl when someone else takes that cockaboo home. Yes, sir, I said, but I held Princess Penelope tight and made a wish no one would. Jamie sat on an empty crate. She scrunched her eyebrows together in deep thinking mode as a baby guinea pig with a tiny teacup in the middle of its forehead peeked through her cupped hands. Maybe your mom and dad will get her for your birthday if you promise to walk her and— Time to go home, called Mr. Humperdinck. Lily needs a stroll out back, and it's time for Maurice's afternoon snack. Please let us stay, Mr. Humperdinck, I pleaded, trying not to smile so I would look earnest and mature. Just this once? Absolutely not, Mr. Humperdinck barked as Jamie cringed. I'd be run out of town faster than you can say Paradise Pets if I had anyone in the store while I'm walking Lily outside in the habitat. I sighed loud enough to make sure Mr. Humperdinck heard me. They may be the cuddliest brown bear, mangy-looking lion, and two-toothed cougar you'd ever care to meet, but Mr. Humperdinck never lets us forget the wild in those animals. Come on, girls, Mr. Humperdinck frowned. Jamie snuggled against the guinea pig's tiny cheek. I hugged Princess Penelope for an extra long minute. Mr. Humperdinck reached for Princess Penelope with one hand and for the baby guinea pig with the other. Scram, vamoose, go home, he shooed us to the door. But when I turned around to wave goodbye to Maurice, I could have sworn I caught the corner of Mr. Humperdinck's mouth curl up, almost in the direction of a smile. 2 days later, they were gone, missing, vanished, disappeared. They'd been stolen from Paradise Pets late Friday night. On Saturday morning, Mom looked deep into my eyes with her uh-oh eyes and handed me the River Creek Gazette. The headline alone took up half the front page. Extra edition, Paradise Pets purloined, varmints vanish, Humperdinck hospitalized. So then Indy runs outside to find Jamie, who's run outside to find Indy. And the girls rush over to the pet store and look inside. They're heartbroken when they see it's empty. So they hurry over to the River Creek two-person police department to see if Captain Rodriguez has found the animals yet, which he hasn't, since it's only been 10 hours since the robbery. The next morning is Indiana's birthday, and she gets a great surprise when Jamie gives her one of Mr. Porky's baby guinea pigs, which Indy's mom has said is okay. Indiana can't wait to introduce Porky Jr. to her 4 cats. Jamie is not happy about that idea at all. We tiptoed up to 3 of our 4 cuddly cats who were sleeping in front of the old radiator in my parents' bedroom. While Jamie looked under the dresser for peekaboo, I clicked leashes on their collars. They all must have had some night last night because they were out cold. Miss Softy, Explorer, and Stray Friedrich Reespaint, I'd like to introduce you to Porky Jr., PJ for short. The cats didn't budge, but PJ twitched her whiskers up and down fast as a tiny propeller. She couldn't wait to meet them. I squished next to Miss Softy so PJ could sniff her whiskers to whiskers, when all of a sudden Miss Softy opened one eye, hunched up her back, and let out the loudest yowling hiss in tarnation. Jamie yelped. PJ wriggled out of my hands and scurried across the floor under my parents' king-size bed. Miss Softy charged under the bed after PJ, while a black shadow, Peekaboo, scooted out of the room. Jamie, the leash! Step on Miss Softy's leash! I've got it, Jamie cried. I dove down and scooched back and forth to get as far under the bed as I could. I don't see her. PJ's not here. She ate her. Miss Softy swallowed her whole. PJ is gone, Jamie choked out her words as tears filled her eyes. I knew this was a stupid idea. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Jamie, I slid out from under the bed. Miss Softy is a cat, not a snake. She can't swallow PJ whole. You don't know that, Indiana. Cats are ruthless predators. My birthday gift to you could be waiting helplessly in Miss Softy's stomach right now, hoping against hope that somehow someone will save her. I rolled my eyes, but when Jamie wasn't looking, I squished Miss Softy's belly to check for unusual bulges. Then I locked the cats in the kitchen so we could search the entire upstairs. We searched every inch of my parents' bedroom, every inch of my bedroom, and every inch of the sunroom. We searched my dad's study, my mom's study, the sewing room, my playroom, and all 3 upstairs bathrooms. We couldn't find PJ anywhere. A picture popped into my head, and a smell sucked me in the nose from the winter when I was 5 and a squirrel got trapped in the wall of our house. We didn't know it until the poor critter died of starvation. We had to have someone come to open the wall because the stench was so bad it flipped my stomach sideways, inside out, and upside down. Now poor baby PJ was trapped forever in the wall of death. If I had better worry genes, this never would have happened. It's all my fault, I moaned. I stretched out across my parents' bed, placed my forearm across my forehead in desperate damsel mode, and closed my eyes. Jamie plunked down next to me. I think I only have a single solitary worry gene, which is so busy worrying about Maurice and Princess Penelope that it can't worry about anything else. And now poor PJ is trapped and starving in the wall of death. She isn't starving in the wall of death. She hasn't even been lost for an hour. If one of your feline predators didn't chew her to bits, PJ could be hiding anywhere in this tumbling down mansion of yours. Holy guacamole, you're right. I jumped up and tugged Jamie's sleeves. Come on, stop moping around. We're not giving up now. Here, PJ, come out, wherever you are, I called, as we walked up the stairs to the 3rd floor. Jamie grabbed the emergency flashlight from an electric outlet and raced ahead, while I dropped down on my hands and knees to search the hallway. My bony knees crunched with pain on the wooden floor, but I crept back and forth like a lawnmower so I wouldn't miss an inch. Here, PJ, I crawled to the back of the hall, up to the tiny alcove behind the stairs to the roof when, oh my God, my heart thumped, loud thumps. I couldn't think or breathe. Black basketball sneakers nearly hit me in the face. Beat up, broken down black basketball sneakers. I froze. I don't own black basketball sneakers, a voice in my head shouted, while at the same time I saw ankles, hairy ankles attached to the feet wearing the black basketball sneakers. I forced my eyes to unfreeze and rotated my eyeballs just enough to see that those hairy ankles belonged to a sleeping boy with a dirty face, stringy blonde hair, and a squashed stovepipe hat. Ah! I screamed. Ah! The boy screamed, jolting upright. Ah! Jamie and I screamed in each other's faces. My brain commanded, run, feet, run! But my feet no longer understood English. We both turned to the boy. He was gone. That's it for the beginning of Indiana Bamboo.